Hi, I'm Harry Rao, founder and CEO of TestGrid.
Rob, thank you for joining us on our 5-minute mentor.
My pleasure. Great to be here. Thanks for having me, Harry.
Awesome. So, from a failed first startup to co-founding Salesloft to a multi-billion-dollar exit, right? It's an amazing story. Let's get started. So, Rob, first step from failure to success, right? You have been open about this, about your failures out there, right? Can you tell more about it?
My first startup was a company called Higher IQ. I was feeling this itch towards entrepreneurism and the idea of being closer to a customer, the idea of creating something, the idea of building. And the failure was really two parts when I think back to it. One is that I didn't know anything about sales, and I didn't really seek to learn. When something wasn't working with the customer, I thought what I was supposed to do is go build more features, instead of really understanding the customer at a deeper level, understanding the problem that we were solving for them, and really honing what I now know to be our ICP. And so that was very painful. We had built it to a certain point, and then we had stalled, and so that was difficult. The hardest part was probably the personal toll that it started to take.
The first mistake that most of us did also, right? Same with me, build more features than
Yeah.
the sales problem, right? Right. So, but it's the other way around. Like, yes, features are good, but you keep saying sales solves problems. Sales is numbers.
It shows that we have an understanding of our customer, that we're creating value for them, that we're solving a problem, and that we're doing it in a repeatable fashion. I read a book called The Joshua Principle. It was about the belief in oneself and one product, that it does create value. And then sales is nothing more than the transfer of the belief that it will do the same for you.
From the failure to a $2 billion plus exit, tell us more about it, right? You said you were like, I was not ready to learn especially the sales side.
Yeah, I mean, that was a big lesson I took away, is that I have to learn something about sales. And while I did learn a lot, I also co-founded the company with a guy Kyle Porter, who lives, eats, breathes, loves sales. And so what we did is we started watching salespeople and watching what they did and what did they need and what were the workflows that would better support them.
Awesome. So from there, Rob, right? So you talk more about, you were even in the beginning, you were talking about values-driven culture, or you got awarded the best place to work. So tell us more about how and why is it important?
My thesis is that culture, it starts in the heart of the founders. That what people want more than anything is authenticity. I wanted to build a company that I wanted to work at. I wanted to build a company that was aligned, that was clear on what we're doing and why we're doing it. And so my goal was to create a company where we had an environment where people learn more, did more, and became more through service to others. And that has nothing to do with building software for salespeople. I mean, we could have been running a cheese business and I'd run it the same way.
What inspired you to transition from operating a company of that scale to coaching CEOs and founders? And what do you find most rewarding about it?
I am blown away when I see leaders make a difference in the world. And I love being a small part of that. And I had a really instrumental coach who changed the course, not only of the business, but changed the course of my life. And I think one of the reasons that I'm so passionate about it is because it didn't end with just the business. I was able to talk to him about my family and some of the challenges with it.
Nice. It's all one at that point, right? You coach. Exactly. How do we reach out to these to our Scalebound services?
If you go on my LinkedIn, I write some of the content that we talk about in our sessions. A lot of it comes inspired straight from CEOs, and we have a group programs for the first 0 to that first kind of 2 million.
And any advice for the aspiring entrepreneurs, Rob?
2 things come to mind. One is that if you're thinking about doing it, just do it. A lot of people don't think about doing it. The most common nudge that I have to give is to focus. You can do 10 different things. You could do a bunch, but like, okay, which ones are the most important, which is the most effective, and then can you go do that, and can you go do it now? So that kind of bias to action with like a more narrow focus.
Absolutely, absolutely wrong. How do you prioritize mental health and work-life balance? How were you doing it at Salesloft personally?
I had a mentor tell me the longer term my perspective, then the better my decisions today. And so by having a long-term perspective, I think that influences the trade-offs I'm going to make.
Prioritize it, balance it, have a long-term focus. It's been a pleasure having you on the show, Rob, and look forward to working with you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me, Harry.